John Smith presents The Object in My Closet. Chapter 1. It was around 9 o'clock on a May morning. Waking up in the morning, I realized there was no food in the house. So I thought to myself, is there anything to eat? I dashed to the kitchen in search of some food. To my dismay, there was no milk, and everyone knows milk is essential for everything. So we needed milk from the grocery store. So I went to the bathroom and hopped in the shower to prepare for my day. It was a nice hot shower and I got peachy clean. I even got behind my ears. I step out of the shower, dry myself off, and I bust out the door. Pew. I walk into my room and grab today's clothing, but as I was reaching for the closet, there was a noise, an odd, very odd noise. I started reaching for the doorknob of the closet. My hand was getting closer and closer. I grabbed the doorknob, and I feel a shocking sensation throughout my body. But I didn't care. I wanted to get to the bottom of this situation. I opened the closet door to find nothing. And that's when I woke up. I woke up in a cold sweat. There was cold sweat running down my face and onto the floor. I was afraid I might slip on my own tears. This was a very serious problem, because when I was 5, I cried so much that I created a puddle of tears. And since my family was poor and we could not afford heat, we had to deal with the cold winters. On this day, the day I cried, it was -2 degrees outside. My tears had frozen over. My mother came to check on me because she heard me crying, and she slipped on the ice tears and broke her neck. She died later that day. Ever since I have been dealing with the death of my mother, which made me have nightmare every night. And I have to be careful when I cry. I had to get out. I knew it was a nightmare when I woke up to find no milk anywhere in the household. I run outside. I bash down the door. I am now outside. The lights are off, but the sun is out, and so is the moon. I ran outside. Someone tapped me on the back, and I turn around to see it's a mysterious woman. She had long, luxurious hair, and a dark face, but not like an African, or Latino. I said to the woman, "Nice sunglasses, where'd you get them?" "Alabama?" The woman ripped off her sunglasses, and she had no eyes. I was so scared that I woke up. I knew this one could not have been a dream, right now, so I pinched myself, and I felt a pain sensation running through my body, knowing that I am now awake and this is not a dream. I decided to start my day off with a carton of milk. On my way to get the milk, there was a knock on my door. I went to go investigate, and it was my neighbor, John Smith. John Smith was at the door. I said to John, "What the heck are you doing here, John Smith?" John Smith replies with, "I was wondering if you had any milk, because my milk went missing. I wondered what kind of mad world this is, where milk goes missing." So I said, "Hold on, John Smith, I'll go get you some milk real quick." I opened my fridge, and I found my milk, and I got the milk, and I was bringing it to John Smith. Before bringing the milk to John Smith, I thought, this is my last carton of milk, do I really want to give it to John Smith? I realized being a better neighbor is more important than drinking milk. So me and John Smith became very close friends after this. We both had so much in common. For example, our love for milk. But we also loved ice cream, too. In fact, we loved all dairy products. But not Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola was not my cup of tea, but if I had to I would drink it. Personally, I would rather have Pepsi, TM. I went home, I laid down on my bed and thought about how great John Smith was. But I thought, am I falling in love with John Smith? I thought, no, I can't be falling in love with John Smith. Frightened by my questioned sexuality, I started crying. But I stopped crying, because I heard the object in my closet, like the one in my dream. I walked over to my closet to see what all the hubbub was about. And that's when my door slammed closed. Boom. Reaching for the doorknob, I grabbed the doorknob. I'm electric-tied throughout my whole body. On the ground, I could not move any of my muscles to get up, when I heard my front door open, then close. I'm afraid of house intruders, so I told my muscles to get their head in the game so we can go solve this mystery. Walking around my house, I see a figure walking around, a dark, shady figure. It really puts a shiver in my spine, if you know what I mean. I eventually started running up to the shady character. Catching up with the shady character, I say, "Who are ya?" The figure turns around, and turns out to be none other than the woman I saw in my dream. She stares at me with her eyeless eyes. Frightened by the event, I start crying. The woman asks me if I would like to know what's going on in my closet. I say, "Yes please." The woman says, "What's in that closet cannot get out to the general public. It's a curse. I put some protection on the box to halt you trying to get to it. You must never, ever try to retrieve the object from the closet." So what do I think? I must try to get the item from my closet. I felt an itching sensation in my nose. I had to sneeze. I sneezed, and you know how when you sneeze you bend down and then you bend back up. Well, when I bent up, the woman was gone. I walked up to my closet door, and I was like, how am I going to get inside of you? So I thought, I can use the doorknob, but we can blow it down some other way. So I went to my sock drawer and pulled out my 12-gauge shotgun. I pulled the trigger and heard a click. Alas, I forgot to load the gun with ammo. I ran outside and hopped in my car. I turned the key and drove down to Walmart. I whacked up the hunting section and asked for some ammo. I was given the ammo and I made my way to the car. As I was making my way to the car, a bunch of thugs walked around the corner. "We got a wise guy," said one African thug. I told them to hold their horses. I pulled out my box of ammo and they ran off. I walked back to my car and hop in. While driving, I hit a DUI checkpoint. "Oh come on," I said. The officer knocks on my window. I roll down the window. "Are you drunk?" said the cop. I respond with, "No." The cop asks me to pull to the side because I was acting funny. The cop told me to get out of the car. The cop checks my car, and he pulls out a bag. Well, look what we got here. A bag of drugs." "You are going downtown, buddy," said the cop. I knocked the cop out and drove back home. I get home and load my gun up with the ammo that I bought. I cocked the gun and blow open the closet doors. There was a box. A black box, to be specific. Anyways, I picked up the box, and I was like, wow, aren't you a beauty? The box seemed very fragile. The box looked very fragile. I was holding it with one hand to show off how talented I was, but the John Smith came into my dismay. John spooking me made me trip and drop my box. The box is falling to the ground as we speak. The box hits the ground, and John is erased from existence. A gas is released out of the broken box. I start coughing up blood. And that's when I got an itching sensation on my chin. That's when I started scratching at my skin, and my skin started coming off. And underneath was not blood, but pale white skin. And underneath, I was the man. I'm scared. I don't want to be the man. I don't even know who the man is. But I felt like I had to call myself the man. It was a title, given to me by genetics. I turn around to find the woman, staring at me, saying, "You should never have opened the object in the closet." I had to live with being the man for about another year until I woke up one day in a dark room and a light comes from the ceiling and I see two giant hands coming in. I start crying. Next thing I know, I'm in a woman's arms, as an infant. The doctor said, "Oh, doesn't he look like a spicy meatball?" And then I live a normal life. The end. "Tommy T man, get down here. yelled my mother. I was hiding from my mother because I did something very bad. I wasn't very fond of my mother. I hid in my basement. I could hear my mother stomping around and yelling. My basement was very dark and very scary. But I had my handy-dandy flashlight. I saw a black box. I was drawn to the box. I felt like I had to look at what was inside. I walk over the box and open it up. It was full of a bunch of junk, but a book stood out to me. The book was titled, The Man. I opened it and there was a lot of words. I flipped through the book some more and there were pictures of a pale balding man.